And the danger of language is context. And I'll explain.
Yeah.
If I say rice right now, I say rice here, everybody has a different understanding of rice. Communication is not words. It is language and understanding.
Like, what are your thoughts generally on spirituality?
So the first thing I would say about spirituality is that you must respect people's belief system. The second point of view is that spirituality should be only about you being like God, nothing else. So the Latin meaning of religion, is, in Latin, you can Google it. It means boundaries.
Makes sense.
And the Latin meaning of spirituality means to breathe.
To breathe.
It's all like. So you have to be careful, because sometimes the boundaries you're creating can become your prison. Boundaries. What is righteousness? An understanding that I'm the right choice. Peace is the deposit. Peace is the alert in my soul that God is with me. It's like, Magam, peace. When there's peace. Joy is the strength to keep going. It says the joy of the Lord is your strength.
What would you consider the biggest challenges or the attack that is currently on marriage in terms of how people value it or how we actually approach it?
I think that the first thing I would say is that marriage is important. Or let me say it right. Family is important.
Yeah.
Let me say it right. Family is important. Fathers and mothers play a strong role in society. I know what I'm saying. Parenting is key in societal development. Parenting. So with marriage too, you have to have stories. We need a lot more stories.
Yeah.
We need a lot more success stories. We need a lot more beautiful stories.
Yeah.
And it's a tough thing to say, but I'll say it. Most men don't know their roles in marriage. At some point, mothers love their kids more than their husbands.
I don't know if it's at some point. I'm going to make this, I've said it a few times. I actually argue, and this might be a little controversial to some people, that most women don't understand love till they have kids.
Control freaks can't save humanity because they want to control humanity. And you can't find yourself in yourself. Let me try and break it down more.
Okay.
I think that the final phase of humanity will be about the mind.
Hello, welcome to another episode of No Right, No Wrong. My name is CT, and I'm very excited. Right now, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm home, so I'm actually having a good time. I'm excited. I have a special guest in the house. Been looking forward to this for a little bit. I'm going to not waste any time, and I'm going to introduce him. He goes by the name Dr. Foy, and I'm very excited. I'm very good. Nice to have you in the house.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm in Nigeria this period, so I'm excited to actually be doing this to talk to you. Yeah. I've been looking forward to this.
I pick from every 10 random DMs, I pick one, and I picked you.
No, thanks for that you actually did that. I'm excited to actually have this done. The first time I got introduced to your work was when you were on the Honest Bunch podcast.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed a lot of opinions that you gave there. It looked very measured to me, the kind of thing that I would actually enjoy. So when I was coming in, I was like, I'm going to try and hopefully get you on the podcast. So I'm really excited. So I'm going to get right into it.
Okay.
The people who want to know exactly who you are, for people that are not used to what you do. So just to give a general introduction, can you please introduce yourself? And
So my name is Tochukwu McFoy. I took my dad's middle name, so Tochukwu Sylvester McFoy.
Okay.
I'm a doctor by training,
okay.
So I read medicine in school.
Okay.
But I have worked in the creative ecosystem for a long time. Started doing all the creative work. So I've been a TV show host. I've been a TV radio show host. I have been a head of production for TV, head of content for TV. I've had an agency that does visuals, videos, graphics, movies. I've done the whole. So right now I run something called Same Energy. It's a network of creatives in Africa.
Okay.
We want to have about 5,000 creatives in the next 1 year, and we empower them and then they do business across the world with us, and we get a commission.
Okay.
That's then I have a music business. I manage T.Y. Bello, Great Man, and some other artists.
Yeah.
Then I have a health business because I'm a doctor. So yeah.
Yeah, doctor. Okay, yeah. So when I was looking through your page, it seemed that you put your hands to a lot of stuff. You're
Yeah.
more like you want to get your hands into that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to go through the things that I observed, and you can give a little breakdown of the things that you do as well. For me to be clear as well, when you say a doctor, do you specialize
Medical doctor. So medical doctor.
a medical doctor? Any specializations?
So I'm meant to specialize in pediatrics.
Yeah.
But then I focused on public health and mental health. So
Okay.
my focus is how public communication, public life can impact mental health.
Okay, so basically public health and mental health. Okay, so basically putting the two together and find out where you can actually bring value and help people
across the and I'm going back to do like a paper for the Gen Z community.
Okay.
Because they are a very different community. They live in the clouds.
Online
in the clouds. And so there are many protocols for that life. There are many things that mental health practices, normal practices haven't written about that. So I want to just
update research on it, and with your focus mainly being in Nigeria and Africa or something like that.
I would say first Africa, but global, because it's a global world. It's a global local world. But the Gen Z guys they exist on TikTok and Instagram. So just understand how, because the goal is to impact, not to talk about impacting. So if we want to impact, we have to understand their realities.
Yeah.
Their brain has changed, the way they think have changed, the way they communicate has changed. So we have to,
Which is interesting to me, because a lot of time we make comparisons to the past, but one thing we don't seem to add into the equation is the things that have actually been added to the current reality, right? Like the way social media is impacting how behaviors and how people do things.
Yes.
Like a lot of the Gen Zs you talk about literally live, communicate, friends, online. So it has become a very important ecosystem for them, right? So I think that's also very important. But before I get into a lot of the conversation that I will like to have with you, I just wanted to get into the other projects that you have. You mentioned some of them, but I just wanted to get a better idea.
So
what they
Energize Music is a music ecosystem business.
Energize Music.
So we push Afro gospel and good music.
Okay.
So we want to I have 2 kids, so we want to push kids for children music, Coco Melon, family music. So that's Energize. The idea is energizing music, positive music. So that's that. Then the same energy, a creative network across Africa. There's the Full Current Life. For now, we're just doing bi-weekly talks and podcasts, but the goal is actually a platform that does mental health, physical health, the full current. Imagine you have light and your light is half current. Your life is half current.
So you're looking to go full current. So that Full Current Life it seems to be a podcast. So kind of.
We're starting with a podcast.
Okay.
So because right now we've been able to hire a team for Energize Music. So I start things, I set it up, I get the team to run it. What I do overview. So we've been able to sort out Energize Music. We're now working on the same energy. Once those 2 are sorted out, like it can run on its own, then the plan for the Full Current Life starts. And the goal is, this is my point. My point is that I don't know if you know, so yoga, for example. Yoga is actually from the yogi, the Buddhists,
like
religion, but they were able to mainstream it.
Okay, that's interesting.
They mainstream. It's like Islam, but they mainstreamed their meditation. And it's called yoga, and it's popular. And yoga is part of a mental health communal thing in America. People do yoga for mental health to release stress. So
release meditation, which is important for your mental health.
So I think that there are things we can use in our own faith, Christianity, that we can mainstream to do the Full Current Life.
Okay, so that's what that really is.
So it's about business, finance, have a wholesome life.
Exactly.
But we're just starting with a podcast first because it's strategic, so that when that grows, then we can start adding classes. There's the app, working on the app, and all that.
and
yeah.
stuff like
And
that.
stuff
But
like that.
you're really focused on an online platform.
Online platform
when it
that
comes-
can give people a full life, marriage, physical health, mental health, just a community of people that are living to the fullest based on principles that are from the Bible but can be mainstreamed.
Oh, okay. No, that's actually
There's a guy called John Maxwell.
No, not exactly.
So John Maxwell is a popular speaker in America. John Maxwell, he has leadership books.
Okay.
He speaks to the White House, but he was a pastor. He was a Christian. But so there are principles from the Bible that can be used.
So you're saying you want to take out the principles from the Bible that we can take into the world, whether you're a Christian or not,
yes.
but that can be practiced and be beneficial and have values for the people.
Yes.
Okay. No, that's amazing. I did see a few of your guests on the show. It seems like that's going great. The other thing that you do, I actually enjoyed going through it. You have something you call Fun, Food, and Prayers.
So it's not me, it's a community.
It's a community.
It's not just me.
Oh, okay.
It's just everybody together. And the idea, let me try and break it down more.
Okay.
I think that the final phase of humanity will be about the mind.
Okay.
And I'll explain. Technology has done so well that there's AI, you're an engineer.
Yeah.
It almost has made everybody on the same platform.
Yeah.
Technology. Yeah.
Technology has leveled the playing ground. You have access to the same
everything.
Yeah.
So what makes you stand out? It has to be something not on earth. Whether it's your meditation, whether it's that. It has to be something that is an extra. And that is the plan.
That's the plan. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's the plan for the food, fun and prayer.
So prayer for us is just being able to access the divine.
So when you say that, so you're actually, the whole community is about having fun,
about having conversations, fun,
and including prayer, and making sure your mind is good. Is good on that. Oh yeah. I just wanted to do that. But that's actually the things that you're working on are very impactful. I actually think they are going to be very helpful. Outside of the way I look at it is, in as much as we preach about people taking care of their physical, like actually being healthy physically. I think being healthy spiritually, mentally, is also just as important for you to function properly. So I think those are amazing work that you're actually doing there. I'm going to go to the things that you talk about, and I wanted to get your takes and your opinions, because this podcast for me is to explore thoughts and allow us to think freely without being confined to just one.
I'm fully aligned.
Exactly. Without being confined to one. I have three main topics that you have talked about, but I wanted to expand it because mainly I saw clips for those topics, but I would love to expand and talk about that on here. The first one that I wanted to talk about was your take on spirituality. And how it's basically how it's actually like being looked at in the world right now. It's very interesting because spirituality over everywhere in the world, it's very important. But what actually now happens is the medium and the ways we actually practice it, which now brings about religion and stuff like that. In your opinion, when you look at our society, we can use Nigeria, the world, what you've observed, how do you expect the future of spirituality, where we are coming from? Let's look at the Bible. Like basically that's over 2,000 years ago. The same teachings being very relevant now, but there also being a little differences to what they actually knew or what they could project, like media and stuff like that. You can't account for things like that when they wrote that. So when you look at spiritually and how people approach it, the criticisms for it, the advantages of it, like what are your thoughts generally on spirituality?
So the first thing I would say about spirituality is that you must respect people's belief system.
I agree. Absolutely. No matter what you believe in.
Yeah, so that's the first thing my first point of view is respect people's belief system. There's something called the placebo effect. The placebo effect is when some doctor, medical doctor, a person is
I have an opinion on that when you finish.
Yes, a person is given chalk or something, and because of belief, he is temporarily healed or he's healed.
Sometimes fully healed.
Yeah. Now, when you understand the placebo effect. You understand that believe is a life. Believe means be alive.
Yeah.
It means your belief system is a life. So the first thing I would say is you must respect people's belief system. It is why they live, it is how they think, and it is a system. So I'm a doctor. And a system is made of organs and this and organs. There's something called the respiratory system,
Yeah.
and the lungs and that, and then it becomes a system.
Yeah. How it actually processes throughout your body to actually breathe.
It becomes a system. So when you see a person's system, you have to respect it. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is that belief has evolved. So my faith is Christian.
Yeah.
And why Christian? Because I came from a Christian home. That's the first thing.
Yeah, I always tell people that I have a friend that says that, like, when we say, like, for me too, I'm also Christian.
Yeah.
And when somebody asks me how my spirituality has evolved till this stage, for good or for bad, I just think I'm a Christian by default. Right? If I didn't grow up in one, I could be any other religion, and I would respect it just as much if it kept me healthy mentally and spiritually. So there's no real animosity towards any other religion. That's the religion that I grew up in.
I would say that I was Christian by birth, but then at some point by conviction.
Okay.
And
that means as an adult you took up Christianity
as a conviction.
Yeah.
But then what I see most people practice is not what I believe in. That's the truth. And I'll try and explain. The Christian belief is that God made man in his image and likeness. And then man fell. So we're like God. And then man fell. So let's make man left. Let's make God right. Man fell. And then Christ came to make us be like God again. So Christianity for me is a journey of being like God.
Christ-like, kind of.
God-like.
Okay.
God-like. Because, and how do you be like God is by two things: working with his spirit. So there's something called the fruits of the spirit and the gift of his spirit. So most people are attached to the name Christianity. I am attached to the name God. I want to be like God. I don't want to be attached to a religious group. I want to be like God. I want to think like him. I want to respect humanity. I want to create. I want to bring the divine. I want to bring the miraculous. I want to be humble. I want to trust my instinct. I want to be like God, because that was the beginning of this whole story. He didn't come to make Christians, and he came to make man in his image and likeness. So that's my first point of view. My second point of view is that spirituality should be only about you being like God, nothing else.
So the quest,
that's all.
The attempting your best to be like God.
I would say practicing, believing, thinking like him.
So that gets me to a very important point, because I agree with exactly what you said in terms of even when Jesus Christ came and we're trying to be Christ-like in the sense of Christianity, the actual meaning, right? The whole idea is being he is God, really, like part of the Trinity.
And my Father are one.
Are one, right? And so it's still the trying to be like that. But that also, I now tell myself, when God says things like he's a jealous God, does that allow us to look at jealousy as a very normal thing and even to exhibit it? Because we're trying to be, I don't know if you understand what I mean. Fully. He's very quick to anger too. He said it's an all-consuming God, right? I see man can be very dangerous in that way as well. But is it something we have to be careful about when we are trying to be like God? Because in my opinion, when you look at the Bible, clearly, even God, when I look at man, there's a lot of tendencies that are that God exhibited that I see a lot in man, right? Yeah. And when we strive for it, is it something that we need to actually watch out for? Because I actually think it's a real thing.
So the Bible wasn't written in English.
Yeah, correct.
In no It was written in Aramaic and some parts in Greek.
Yeah. And it has been translated and transcribed so many times.
And the danger of language is context. And I'll explain.
Yeah.
If I say rice right now, I say rice here. Everybody has a different understanding of rice. For real.
Yeah.
So rice or father rice might come to your head. Jollof rice.
Yes.
Fried rice. So I've now learned that communication is not words. Communication is language and understanding. Say it again. Communication is not words. It is language and understanding.
Yeah.
You get the point? So,
I get it. And I'm going to make an example if you don't mind.
Please do.
I remember there was a famous, he was in the House of Reps, right? Patrick Obahiabon.
Yeah.
I always used to say that a lot of people would be like, oh, his grammar is accurate. I'm like, he's a horrible communicator.
Yeah.
If people can't understand you,
That's it.
You're not communicating. It doesn't matter how you say it, what language you say it.
Fantastic.
It's about communication. And also, I also make the point about when people make fun of somebody for getting an English. I'm like, it's great when you're being graded in school. But if the person you're talking to, right, in real life gets what you're saying, it might not be accurate English, but you two communicated, even though it's not accurate, which goes back to pidgin English and stuff like that in Nigeria. But yeah, you can go ahead. Just want to make that.
So those who wrote the Bible were communicating what they saw. Those who transcribed the Bible were communicating what they wrote. It's different.
Is it also possible that they were also translating what they think that those people were saying?
Good. What they wrote. Not what they understood.
Not what they understood, yeah.
So there are a lot of things in the Bible that are, for example, that are weird. So I go back to Christ. So Christ now said, Christ said, if you see the Father, you see me.
Yeah.
I am the express image of the Father. Paul wrote about it. Mm-hmm. So what he was saying, so the reason why Christ had to come was to say that, hey, people have written about God, that he's a consuming fire, he's jealous God, he's that, he's this, he's that. Great. But I am Christ, and I am the express image of my Father. So what they saw is not everything I am, but what I am is everything he is.
Yeah.
So Christ is the express image of God.
Yep.
Which means that what he spoke about, love your neighbor as yourself, spoke about sacrifice. Paul wrote about him, about the spirits he carries and all that. But so that we don't go to so we don't make this about Christianity. Let me expand it.
Again.
Good. I think that respecting people's ideology is great, because what you do is that you make them human. For example, you see a person wearing a white garment, barefoot, walking on the road, and you mock him. You shouldn't. You should respect that. For 30 years, this man is walking on the road. He can get tetanus. He can get that. You have to respect that. Now, what I now add by Christian faith is that, but if you come around me, you see love, you see patience, kindness, humility, blah blah blah. You see the gifts, and you see that's one. Two, you see excellence. You see that I'm building businesses with small money, great impact. I know when to go for a pitch. I can wait till the time is right. There's a hand around me that is making me move. I make the right choices always because of my spiritual practice. So that's how I see spirituality. I think it's going to evolve a lot more with the younger generation, because our fathers didn't have, your father or your uncle or your auntie didn't have a real time access to Brazil.
Yeah.
So right now, people have access to everywhere in the world. People have AI to read more. So
this real access to knowledge
it's wild. This means that people are going to have to test their convictions, their understanding, and it's okay. What I'll just say is that I think that the prime ideology of Christ, or my belief, is love. That's his love. It's him. It's love. empowered not by emotions, but by Holy Spirit. So they call it the gifts of the Spirit and the fruits of the Spirit. So I say, don't practice the fruit without the gift. Don't try and love without His help. But that's spirituality. So yeah, it would. I think respect is so key. That's
the
really,
respect of everyone's
respect.
beliefs.
Yeah, respect, and don't pretend to respect it, because a lot of people pretend to respect it. Respect it.
But in their opinion, if it's not the way they actually see it,
in their tone, don't respect. I listen. Now, the reason why I can listen to everybody is that I'm not afraid of your religion. I understand. I'm convinced about my own. I've spent time with my own understanding, my belief. So respect it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I think that's actually powerful, because as a country like Nigeria, that we do have two major religions as a country, and
we have two major religions, but we have almost 500.
500.
In
the
one.
Funny thing is,
in one,
right?
We have almost 500 doctrines.
Doctrines, right?
Close to 500.
Denominations is
It's
over
wild.
1600.
Yeah, it's
1600.
It's wild.
It goes back to the point that
It's
even
wild.
in the Christianity, there's a lot of people that have a little differences in what they agree and stuff like that. And in my opinion, you can respect that. If you think, I don't personally think that just because I see the things I do, that the other people are dumb or not getting rewards or benefits from their beliefs and their spirituality. So I think that's actually really important.
Yeah.
And as a country, like as Nigerians, we have to also understand that our religions are actually feeding our spirituality and can be separated from other things that we do, right? Because a lot of people want to attach themselves with only similar religions, but there's a whole lot more things and ideologies that can bring us together, and interests.
The Latin meaning of religion, is, in Latin, you can Google it. It means boundaries.
Makes sense.
And the Latin meaning of spirituality means to breathe.
To breathe.
It's online. So you have to be careful, because sometimes the boundaries you're creating can become your prison.
True.
So spirituality, I would say this. This is what I say. I have a relationship with God, and I have a community of people that believe in the same God. That's it. But I don't try to create boundaries, because the danger of that, like block people, is that I might never see the good in humanity
with those boundaries.
I would always demean people. I would always look down on people. I would have a barrier to entry before you even come to me with those boundaries. But if you depend on, like I said, it means to breathe spirituality. If your spirituality comes from Him, you will be able to love people from His breath. So it's the balance.
Oh no, that's beautiful. That's great. The other thing I just wanted to ask with the spirituality, which seems to be a lot of our questions, like a lot of people, like for me too, it's a question, but I think it's more personal. But I just wanted to get your opinion.
Yeah.
When you talked about your spiritual journey and that you have to actually be led by the Spirit and stuff, as individuals, I think we can't have enough of it. I know pastors try to communicate this a lot, but how do you know that you're walking in your what I call it spiritual sanity for a fact? Like, is it something you feel, you understand, you're convinced, your belief? Because a lot of that spiritual belief, we can't actually prove any of it. Like, as individuals, or what you think, like, how do you move around the world and be like, I'm in a great place?
The Bible, like the belief system I have.
Yeah, sure.
So Paul said that. And when I see the Bible, I don't see like people see it like I see like if Paul was here, he'd be doing emails.
I see the Bible, you know, the way we read great books that teaches things.
I said Paul wrote letters, like emails, like tweets. He wrote emails. He wrote a letter to Corinthians.
An email, like telling them this is what I noticed about the church.
That's it.
This is what you people can do to be better.
Now, in one email, Paul wrote and said, the kingdom of God is
righteousness,
peace, and joy. And for me, these are the three boundaries. What is righteousness? An understanding that I'm the right choice. That I'm the right choice. I'm just right. I'm the guy that God loves.
Can you expand on that? You said righteousness is the understanding that I am the right choice. Yeah. How do you go about internalizing that?
It's it's righteousness is a conviction based on the fact that I'm now like God because I gave him my life. And he's empowering me. I'm the right choice. Righteousness is my greatest confidence booster. That because I'm with him, I can't make a wrong move. He will stop me, he will push me, he will block me, it is his right. It's like it is his right.
So I am the right choice. It's his right choice. So that means as long as you walk with him,
I'm his right
you're
choice.
Doing the right.
And then when they are wrong ways, because I'm his right choice, he'll say don't go. So most times I don't hassle things because I'm trying to discern his right choice.
His right choice. Okay. And the other two you said about
peace.
That
So
peace and joy.
Me, peace is the deposit. Peace is the alert in my soul that God is with me. It's like Magam, peace. When there's peace.
When you're actually walking right with him, peace is what comes along.
Is the down payment of. Then joy is the feeling. David wrote, in the presence of him, there's fullness of joy. So when I'm walking with him, his presence brings me joy.
Okay, let me see if I got this right. I just want to try kind of. So when you're righteous, right, and you're walking, you're the right choice. Basically, you're walking with God in the right ways, and He's directing you.
It's His righteousness.
It's His righteousness, not your decision. Which is something else that I struggle with while I'm on it. I'll go back to finishing the point. One thing I always notice that I personally am always like is that I don't know if people understand the difference between what they want and what God wants from them, right? One of my very interesting prayers every day, to keep it short, for me is like, let God's will be done. Because in my opinion, when you're walking right with God, it's not about what you want or what your people are telling you. Sometimes it's God's will. You allow God's will. You're bounded. You are walking right with Him, right? So it's about God's will in your life. Because a lot of times we walk into the world and we can mistake what we want, what our flesh wants, with what God wants of us, right? So for me, it's a very dicey thing, but it goes back.
What else by God?
Let's break that down a little bit. How do we?
So I explain. What is trauma? Trauma are the good things that didn't happen for you and the bad things that happen to you. The effect of both causes trauma. I'll say it again. The good things that did happen for you.
So the good things that didn't happen for you.
You prayed, it didn't happen. And the bad things that happen to you, the effect of both causes trauma. And the problem with trauma is that it makes you not trust God again. God, you say I should pray. I prayed, it didn't happen. Why should I trust you? That is why I said spirituality has to be a deep work with Him. So when you said now that God's will be done, it could be two things. It could be just a mental accent, or it could be conviction. It could be any of them. A lot of people is a mental accent. Deep down, they don't trust God. A lot of people. But for you to have a bias that God's will be done, you must now know that God's will is better than your will.
It's better, and it's greater. It's more important than your way.
It's a conviction you must understand. It's not emotional.
Oh yeah, I agree. And this, just to complete that, there's righteousness. Peace is basically what comes along.
Is the alerts.
The alerts, like the initial, and then joy is almost the reward, the fulfillment.
So joy is two things. Let me try and say joy is two things. So I'll give an example. Joy is the strength to keep going. It says the joy of the Lord is your strength. Is that life is tough, and to keep going, to keep believing that. Do you know that Noah built the ark for 120 years? It's a long time.
That's a long time.
David waited. Abraham waited for 25 years. He's 25
to have
years.
A child.
25 years now. That's a long time.
That's a long time to.
You need something to keep. You need something to keep you going. Yeah.
That's a long time.
So, Yeah.
The next thing I wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
we'll just get into it, is basically the attack on marriage.
Okay.
And your opinion on that, and how we can actually relate that to Gen Z and the online world. There are a lot of things going. Everybody has an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
But when you look at the landscape that we live in today, what would you consider the biggest challenges or the attack that is currently on marriage in terms of how people value it or how we actually approach it?
I would say that it varies from different continents. For example, you're based where?
Based in Canada.
It's different there.
Completely different. It's a different
in
world.
Canada.
It's over. In my opinion, like it's dead. People are trying to hold on, but it's dead.
It's different.
Yeah.
In Africa, in Nigeria, it's not yet finished. There's still the value of marriage in Nigeria. And the reason why is because we Nigerians have a strong belief system. And our belief system is based on religion, tradition.
Yeah.
So I think that the first thing I would say is that marriage is important. Or let me say it right. Family is important.
Yeah.
Let me say it right. Family is important. Fathers and mothers play a strong role in society. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've done my research. I read books on prison, the rise of the prison in the black race in America.
Oh, it's a real thing.
Because of the lack of fathers. I read it. There's a paper.
Going in jail and all.
It's because of lack of fathers. Then the rise of the rise of drug abuse and depression. Lack of mother. I read it, I understand it. So parenting is key in societal development. Parenting. The truth is that I would come and say here and stand and say only Christian marriages work. I can't say that. That's a very wrong.
To me, it's narrow-minded.
It's foolish.
Yeah.
It's a foolish thing, and I'll tell you why. The country with the highest, longest marriage in the world is India.
Yeah.
I've done my research. I read about it, and 80% of the Indian marriage is match made.
It's match made, and it's very traditional too.
And they stay married for years. So I wouldn't say what I'll just say is that if two people growing together spiritually stay together, they'll keep being married. Yes.
Does it have anything for both people being in alignment in why they are together, understanding why they need each other?
I would say that it's a constant re-education of that. Not one thing. It's a constant re-education of that.
Yeah.
Because if people change, I've married for 5 years plus. We're in a different era now. I have 2 daughters. Some days by 1 a.m. she's crying.
Yeah.
In the first year of marriage, it was different. So it's a constant re-education of why we're married. That's 1. 2, it's also a constant understanding of self-awareness. Most people don't pay attention to themselves and how much they are changing.
That's very true. And I don't know if people add it to the equation in terms of planning, in terms of their decision making, that person is probably not going to be the same person in 5 years.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So they love that, man. Marriage is such a complex thing because people change. That's 1. 2, what we call love changes too. It does. For example, at some point, mothers love their kids more than their husbands.
I don't know if it's at some point. I'm going to make this. I've said it a few times. I actually argue, and this might be a little controversial to some people, that most women don't understand love till they have kids.
It's a tough
question because
it's a tough
thing because I have my theory on that. But I really think so. When they have kids, it's almost they experience a new kind of love.
Yeah.
like for their
I
kids.
hear you. I hear you.
It's interesting.
It's a huge assertion, and I hear you.
And I'm going to give you an
I
example
hear you.
using Christ as an example,
Yeah.
right? Because the way I look at love, like for me personally, the way a lot of people explain love, in my opinion, it has basically been minimized. That's what I
Okay.
look at it for. It's now like you wake up in the morning, you love your dog. Or, okay, you wake up, you love anything, your pillow. You know what I mean? But when I look at love in the core meaning of what Christ was trying to teach us, I look at it as sacrifice. And why I made that statement is when you look at love as sacrifice, right? Not really knowing that you're not benefiting much, but you're just sacrificing for what you love, right? And you look at how Christ died for us. When I look at love as sacrifice, that's why I said that about
Mother and child.
Women, mother and child, they literally sacrifice their lives. Now, childbirth is not as deadly as it used to be without the current medical advancements. There was a time, every single time you had to bear a child, it was your life. Thank you very much. So it brought them, it was a new feeling of attachment.
I hear you.
Right,
I do hear you.
to their kids. I think people need to understand.
I hear you clearly. I'll take that.
Yes.
As a new concept.
It's just to understand that sacrifice part of it, right? Yeah. And one thing with love is when you sacrifice for something, there's a new feeling that you have for that thing, right? And that's love is kind of very key when you actually think about it. But it's just something that I
hear you clearly.
Yeah. But back on the attack of marriage, just to go, the other thing you were mentioning, which I would like to ask while we're on the topic, which is interesting in your opinion, as you see, I look at the world right now, a lot of the marriages are being built on love, emotion, right? And stuff like that. And then I just want to compare two. Then you know what they call the love marriages and what you call like arranged marriages. Sometimes arranged marriages doesn't have to be your parents doing it. You can just, people these days do arranged marriages. They meet people for 3 months. In my opinion, all those little things are arranged marriages. You know you're ready to get married. The other person is ready to get married. You commit to it and you get down. But when you think about the arranged marriages kind of scenarios and the love kind of scenarios where there's butterflies in your stomach,
arranged marriages work more.
I think so as well.
Data shows
that it works more.
The reason why it works more is because of the commitment.
Both people know exactly why they're there.
Both people want it to work.
Yeah.
I wish to say this. I've had two friends. I've had a few friends divorce. A lot of maybe 3, 4, 5 friends. And I see that sometimes they divorce because at the time when there needs to be a child, there's no child and there's nothing to fight for. There's nothing to fight for. That's one. Two is sometimes just there are low days, there are low times, and there are high times in life. There are low days. There are days where financial issues. There are days where people have they call it midlife crisis. There are days where you are also trying to battle identity. All these things. Those who have arranged marriages, they fight because for them it was a choice. It wasn't love.
Yeah, but in my opinion, isn't love really a choice? It's more than an emotion.
What I'll say is everything.
It's everything, right?
It's everything.
Okay.
It's everything. The reason why it has to be everything is because there's something called intuition, gut feeling, and gut feeling is not logical.
There's also a little bit of risk and delusion to it.
So it's everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up while we're talking about marriage, because in my opinion, right, I really think a lot of the ways people actually view how a long-term marriage can start up in terms of love marriages, I think it's not sustainable because of the fact that most people would agree that emotions are fleeting.
Yes.
Like it's very temporary compared to commitment. We use, for example, I'm getting into my first year of school. I'm going to be here for like 5 years. I'm committing to it. And you try to get through to it rather than, I just woke up and I have to go to school. Oh, I love it today in class. What happens on the bad days? Are you loving it as much? Are you still sticking it throughout because you're committing to it? So,
but I'll also add that commitment must be driven by stories. Let me explain. The reason why I committed to 5 years in school was because they told you a story that you get a job.
And you get a degree.
You get a degree, marry a wife, you can take your family from the pits of poverty. Truth is that Stories move the world. It's even wild. The Bible says that the word became flesh. A story became a human being. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So with marriage too, you have to have stories.
And is it that we need people with positive stories of marriages to come out and speak up about it?
We need a lot more.
A lot more, because
We need a lot more.
the common thing that's driving it is very negative.
Yes, we need a lot more stories.
Yeah.
We need a lot more success stories. We need a lot more beautiful stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it can be beautiful. Like a lot of people would agree that companionship is great. So what's happening with the stories that when people come together?
It's stories. That's one. Two is that we also need new ideas of what a man is and what a woman is.
New? So is it like redefining what we know as the current roles of both of them based on our society today?
That's one. Two is that that's why we started well. This has been a good convo because we started well. Belief system. For example, there's no way in the Bible, and it's a tough thing to say, but I'll say it. Most men don't know their roles in marriage. For example,
I agree.
Yeah, when they say love your wife like Christ loves the church, it's what I'm saying is die for your wife.
I agree.
Yeah.
If you're going to commit to it, you might as well protect like your wife, family, stuff.
But the truth is that you can't do that without Christ. That you don't have the capacity, you don't have it. It's tough. So I would say that the media has done a bad on marriage. They've broken it, finished. Hollywood has scattered it. LGBTQ there's now M.
Yeah,
there's M.
There's going to be a plus.
There's M. M is minus something. It's about
what's the plus one?
So
there's a plus.
Those things are fighting identity.
Yeah.
So it's a battle of identity. It's a battle of God's plan, but it's also a battle of destroying the family system. Yeah. So it's marriage is marriage for me. It's I'm learning. I'm learning. I've not arrived.
I know. For me, it's always getting those key points that either you have not gotten into it, what you can expect going into it.
Yeah.
Also,
married?
No, I'm not.
Do you plan to marry?
I hope to marry, but I'm not very optimistic about it.
And it's fine. But why not optimistic?
Because I think a lot of the concepts or acceptable concepts of marriage, in my opinion, it's not being looked at with what we're dealing with today. Now, the union of marriage, the whole arrangement, get somebody, right? Get a woman, a wife, have children, all that. Oh, I'm all into it. But it's the commitment, the signing of the papers, the dispute resolution parts of marriage, the lack of alignment most times between, I would say, guys in this case and maybe ladies on the other side about what you want from the marriage, what is important in the marriage and stuff like that. I think there's a huge lack of an alignment on both. I'll use sexes instead of gender on this, but yeah, genders and sex on both of them. There's a huge misalignment on that. So in my opinion, I like the whole concept on that, but I'm not enthusiastic about. Like I said, I don't hear enough of the good stories to be enthusiastic about getting into it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, but I always say this, right? There's always time. It's not something I'm looking into now. When I absolutely want the benefits and stuff, I'll definitely be looking into it, because there's always challenges, right?
Everything
with that. There's always challenges. So that's how I'm looking at it. For now, I'm more focused on work and stuff, but I have to say I'm not very excited about what's going on. And I live in Canada. For people that know the Western world of marriages for a man specifically, it's not that much fun, and I can say that, right? There's a lot of things that don't encourage me about how the system works in signing. If there was a marriage where we don't have to sign the papers and stuff, and we can be in alignment, maybe we would start talking about it. But right now, for me, it's like I'll focus on other things. It's just not something that gets me excited. People will be like,
this is a very profound idea, because see how society has defined the future.
Yeah,
it's profound.
Yeah,
It's scary.
It's scary. I think
But
things.
why not marry a Nigerian woman?
I could, whether it's over there or here, but it still goes back to the point as I made earlier. Am I hugely opposed to arranged marriages? No. Would it be better if you had the option of, getting to know the person a lot more? That would be a whole lot ideal, right? In that sense. But what I kind of look at it is that the institution of marriage as it's constructed in where I basically reside in is not very exciting to me. It's a whole conversation. If you wanted to get into it, it's a whole conversation.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll get to the final part about what I wanted to ask you, which is something you've talked about, which is basically the importance. I'm going to join it together because there was two, but I'll use one. The importance of serving others, the significance of serving and how that can actually impact back in you and how it can take out of you and stuff like that, of serving others and collaborations. I just wanted to expand on maybe examples, analogies, and stuff like that when you actually get into such a topic about the significance of service, either basically to others and also the importance of collaboration, how you look at it.
A lot of spiritual stories, not Christian.
Yeah, just stories.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of spiritual practices say that we are all interconnected. It's a spiritual.
Yeah, it's general spiritual.
That we're all interconnected. And I think that most people don't understand that you find fullness in other people. The truth is, no matter how great you are, you cannot stay with me for one whole year and not learn from me.
Yeah.
And not learn from him.
Yeah.
Whether you're learning vertically
or
horizontally or even
downward, upwards,
sideways.
Yeah.
So I think it's in serving others that you find yourself. And I mean it, not trying to be poetic. It's in serving others that you can say, oh, I no go do this again. It's in serving others that you can refine your thoughts. That's one. Two is that collaboration is best with those who are self-aware. I'll say it again. Being a control freak is gender neutral.
It's gender neutral, but
gender neutral.
So many people that are control freaks don't know that they are control freaks.
It's gender neutral.
Yeah.
It's gender neutral. It's man, woman,
child.
Gender neutral. But control freaks can't serve humanity because they want to control humanity. And you can't find yourself in yourself. I'll give an example. Because of the team I work with now, I'm more confrontational in a good way. Before I used to be not confrontational. But the bad part of it is that the way I will log out from a relationship, the best way to say,
what happened?
I don't, Otilo, I've gone. I'm gone. You get the point?
Yeah.
Because of my traumas.
Yeah.
With parents and cousins. So, but now, because of just hanging out with people who can have hard conversations and still play game at the end, and still, okay, so it's not that bad.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So in serving, you begin to find yourself.
And it also allows you to finally get out of your own biases. You get out of your own biases, collaborate with people. You are able to not believe exactly in something, but when two of you can agree on one specific goal,
incredible.
Two of you can get it done.
It's incredible.
It's an incredible thing. I just wanted to ask about how you view that. And I think a lot of times with serving others too, a lot of people don't see a benefit in serving others because it's not instant.
Yeah. And it's amazing how, let me use a Bible story. Joseph.
Yeah.
So Joseph, his first phase in life was the big dream. Vision. Big dream. Vision. Big. He said he saw the moon and the star and 11 straws bow to him. That big dream took him where? To the pits.
Prison.
No, to the pits.
To the pits first, yeah.
To the pits. Dealt with him at the pits. Took him to Potiphar's house. At that point, he So he realized, it's not only by vision, no. It's by vision and interpretation.
And he served too. That's a lot.
That was the last part.
That's the last part. Okay.
It was after
vision, interpretation,
and service, execution. And then when he told the guy the dream, they still forgot him for about 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Yes. But when he was full, he was able to know the dream, interpret the dream, and serve humanity. And that's when you're a complete person. I watch billionaire, all this Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, and I think at some point they all want to be humanitarians, and because they see that, you know what, okay, I have 70 billion. I can burn 50 billion.
But how much?
What
do you get remembered?
What do you remember for? Yeah. And it's a human echo. It's an echo in the soul of man to serve humanity. It is there. Will you attend to it? Maybe not.
And a lot of times before they got to where they are, I think people don't actually acknowledge that they serve. Either they give products or they serve in a way to get to where they are.
Truth be told, the best way to even build a business is by service.
It's by service. Customer service, better service. You know, people actually
by service, seeing the loopholes, knowing by service.
It's feeling a need.
It's in your hand, rolling the sleeves, and by service.
Oh yeah. I think actually I would agree with that. I think it's important, serving others, collaboration. I don't think a lot of people look at it in this wholesome. Rather than in its presence. Oh, I go serve something, I'm giving this amount of hours, time, energy, and money. But there are ways outside of just what you can see at that moment that can also impact your life positively. For that, I think we've had a great conversation.
Fantastic conversation. Good one. Good. What I liked about this is the name.
Yeah.
It's the truth is, I'll end with this. There were 2 trees in the Bible. 2 trees.
Yeah.
The first tree was called the tree of what?
Life.
Tree of life. The second tree was the tree of what? Good and evil.
Good and evil, yeah.
What man has gotten to understand is that the devil deceived man to eat of the tree of right and wrong.
Yeah.
Good and evil. God said, no, just eat of life. Be like me. I'm not a person that likes good and evil. I'm just life.
I'm just life.
Yeah. When you come to me, it's life. I don't know. I'm not trying to. No, I'm life. And when you have life in maturity, you can now handle. One of the dangers of our times is trying to black and white life.
Yeah, I think we do that a lot. The gray area
is still...
It contributed to the name because I've heard so many conversations and people stick to one conclusion. And I'm like, if we really look at it, there's always a negative side to every conversation, right? There's a down part to it as well. You can say, oh, work very hard.
Yeah.
But if you work too hard and you don't take care of your health,
you
die. You know what I mean? Then you can be like, oh, you can't sleep too much. You need your good hours of sleep, but are you going to sleep all your life and not get things done? You know, there are always real legitimate sides to even the greatest analogies or things that we can make out. And the more people are self-aware about it, right, the better it helps. There's a little tradition that I have going on the podcast that I want to take on for a long time for this, which is more on the topic. It's more like a dilemma question, but I just had one for you. Usually it doesn't really matter what the answer is, just to wrap this whole thing up. So I was thinking about it. I was like, usually when it comes to how people talk about legacy and stuff like that, there are usually 2 things that happen when you become public, in general. So I just wanted to find out. It's 2 options, but there could be more options. But I just wanted out of the 2 options. If you were given an opportunity to do what you believe in, right? Basically, that's what you're doing right now. And there's going to be a lot of negative criticisms, right? A lot of negativity that comes out from people. Or you have the option to be quiet, live a good life, and not be relevant. 2 options. If you had to pick one of those options, which would you think is more of what is a thing for you? I call it a random dilemma question, anyone. So there are 2 options. You do what you believe in, but there's going to be wild ranging criticisms and negativity towards you. but you believe in it. You actually believe that what you're doing is the right thing that you should be doing or stuff. Or you live your good life, you avoid those negative criticisms, but you're basically not relevant. You don't maybe make the kind of impact that you were hoping to do by actually doing what you love. If you had to pick one of those, what would you think is something you can live with and the other one you can't live with? Are you just and stuff like that?
I think the first one is doing what I want to, doing what I believe in, and negativity.
You're okay with the negativity and handling that more than.
I think the worst kind of negativity is your inner voice of I'm useless.
Yeah, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do.
It's worse. Yeah. It's worse. It's worse. It's the echo that will follow you for life.
And this is not with people. This is with you 24/7.
Yeah, you off your phone.
It's there. Your room is there. You walk outside.
Your deathbed
is there.
I prefer the noises. Okay.
So you can. It's better to handle it.
Off my phone, change my handle.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. I really loved it. Thank you for honoring my invitation. I actually appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying Lagos so far. Thank you so much, Dr. Foy. For everyone listening, thank you all for listening. My name is CT. This is No Right, No Wrong. Had an interesting and I loved the conversation with Dr. Foy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring notifications on YouTube. Podcast is also available on all major platforms: Apple Podcast, Google Chromecast, Google Cast, and Spotify as well, and also on the social media handle pages as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Foy. I really appreciate it. You dropped a lot of knowledge here that I'm going to actually be very useful for. Thank you so much.
Yes, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.